Good afternoon. I would like to welcome all the participants for our sixth webinar today from Export Development Board. So today's webinar, we have a little bit of a lengthy topic, importance of adhering to the principles in organic agriculture for reaching Millennium Goals. So I think even though it is lengthy, the keyword is organic agriculture. So which is a trending thing at the moment. And so it is a very timely topic. And to present this topic, we have a very experienced personality and very appropriate personality who is very close to Export Development Board and who is very much into this field, organic agriculture, is none other than Dr. Sarath Ranaweera. So I will give a brief introduction because he wants to make it very brief, even though he has introduction goes into pages. I'll just give a very brief one. He's the founder and chairman of Biofoods Private Limited. Dr. Ranaweera is an experienced chairperson with a demonstrated history of working in the import and export industry, skilled in agribusiness, business development and marketing strategy, strong business development professional focused in food science and technology. He's pioneering in organic and fair trade, small farmer projects especially, international tea consultant, food technologist, so many hats, founder of many small organic farmer projects in Sri Lanka, also supporter of organic small producer projects in the world, and fairest in fair trade, fairest fair trade. So I would like to give a bit of an introduction to the webinar, whoever who are joining us today for the first time. So we will have this presentation of Dr. Sarath Ranaweera, and then in between the presentation, if you have any points to be raised, you can type it and send it. So we will take all these things at the end of the presentation for the discussion. And any questions you can make during the presentation or after the presentation. So we are trying to have a discussion just after the presentation. So it is a question and answer session as well. So yeah, without further ado, can I invite Dr. Sarath Ranaweera to carry on with the webinar presentation? Yeah, Dr. Ranaweera, it's over to you. You have to on the mic. Yeah. We can see the presentation, but we don't get the sound. Dr. Ranaweera.
You hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, I won. You hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Organizing a very timely, important topic, and I think it's our contribution that we should make it to develop our country. So I think it's also opportunity given for me to share my experience, knowledge in the sector, organic. And today I'm talking about adhering to organic agricultural practices in reaching Millennium Goals. So this is a topic, and I go through my slides, and if you can't understand, sorry, just some technical, yeah, okay. So I'm now active on the system. And so we see a few Millennium challenges. Very importantly, this was established and wanted to achieve in 2015. Now we are in 2020. The 8 very non-millennium goals were like to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, to achieve universal primary education, to promote gender equality and empower women, to reduce child mortality, to improve maternal health, to combat HIV/AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. And the 7th one is to ensure environmental sustainability, very key word. And the last one is to develop the global partnership for development. So once we fix these so-called Millennium Goals, we wonder whether we have reached them. So it's one of the big debatable topic, and I think we have not reached those Millennium Goals. So to improve, to achieve important Millennium Development Goals indirectly from eco-agro system, what we have been doing last couple of years or many years or decade, decision taken for reserving regions for organic or ecological agriculture, regulation imposed to maintain higher percentage of organic quality of staple foods commonly consumed in a country like Sweden. So if you take Sweden, I think legally the 80% of milk should be labeled organic. So because it's milk drinking or country, and we like rice eating community in Sri Lanka or Asia, we must have similar opportunity to reach tea as well as rice. We are rice eaters, we are tea drinkers. So, I mean, if we really want to develop our country through healthy community, it has to be the goal. It's a kind of Millennium Goal. And many countries, they check what are the staple food, and they try to put organic into these major products or staple food. Then control pollution by protecting areas under UNESCO heritage, like, you know, Indivigwe Lake in Kachin state in Myanmar. And I think there are a few examples I can give. And some places they have regions like Sikkim in India, and there are regions already been nominated by many countries, and they know the importance of this environment-friendly agriculture for future protection. And also protecting highly sensitive biodiverse areas in the world. Good example in Sri Lanka, like Singaraja Forest and Candian Forest Garden System, Knuckles Range, and I think we all know what are the sites in respective countries. And this also indirectly supporting to achieve Millennium Goals, so-called fixed Millennium Goals, not the goals that we are talking today. And also decreasing limits of chemical residues, heavy metals in baby food, like, you know, one of the largest company in Germany called HIPS, try to get the arsenic in rice towards 0.001 milligram per kilogram level, that is part B, ppb level, in order to protect the future's babies. So baby food is having extremely high regulations. So you can understand why it is important, like not only babies, what about pregnant women? Pregnancy is one of the period that we should protect the future. So it is not the babies. You have to start prior to that. Awarding fair trade title for regions that follow ethical friendly criteria. So people think organic is only not using chemicals. No, it has a very different meaning. Actually, why fair trade has to come into the Millennium Goal. It is known by many people, and fair trade concept must come to organic philosophy. So you can see 17 goals that can be, I'm not sure can be, that should be achieved in 2030 or even later. And they announced 17 goals, and most of the goals are very common to us. We hear this every day, and every day people fix some goals, new goals. So now 8 goals have been changed to 17 goals: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water, affordable and clean energy, decent work, economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequality, sustainable cities and communities. This is one of the things I call fair trade cities. So this has already come in. Responsible consumption and production. So you find ethical consumers. I talk about ethical consumers later. So we call responsible tourism, responsible mining, and responsible consumers. So who are responsible consumers will be discussed later on. Climate action, and we have a lot of many climate action groups, and who want to protect the world by supporting many issues, forming a lot of restriction and life below water. We don't see that, but what kind of contribution it has. And we don't talk about bees, and bees can even change the world. So we sometimes don't worry about small animals, small things like microbes. Like when we eat food, we don't care about microbes in our guts as well as enzymes in our food. So we have given the priority for something different, and I think people have realized, scientists have realized that we have to change the focus in new millennium to do even research. So the 15th one, life and land, peace, justice, and strong institution, partnership and the goals. So these are the new ones. And it's a dream. And when you really reach it, it will be a wonderful world. We all be very happy, very content people once we reach these goals. However, it is in a way, I can't say sad, it in a way different, how consumer want to see the market, and the consumer is the god and consumer is the market trend decider. What consumer needs? So we, from the advocates, they like the millennium goals, they like to fix the millennium goal happily. And consumer, if consumer needs something different, how can we match? How can we reach our goals? So, I think we all know Nielsen, one of the greatest company who does many surveys in the world. So they talk about the fast moving consumer goods. And we see how many trillions it is there current and year ago, and it's growing. And including grocery stores, drug stores, mass merchandise, select dollar stores, select warehouse and clubs. So these all are the places where the fast moving consumer goods are sold. So you can see it's $1.05 trillion and moving towards the growth is moving towards a growth 3.47, 3.4. And so this is what consumer need. And if you see this slide, and you can see very little differently what we knew earlier, and it was, I would say, something little unbelievable from one side, because if you see the figures, it's the frozen foods giving the 40%, and you can see deliveries, groceries, dairy, meat is 2%. Compared to frozen foods, 40, meat has come to 2%. So we have not really observed what world needs, and to really see the millennium goals, we have to reach the goals, but we should know goals. If we don't know goals, we are like people walk in dark, and we think what we are correct, but we have to see what consumer needs and what the people needs. So when we really go into the brands and private label, and you see this slide, and you very clearly see how the branded products, food and non-food, because these are two main categories, food and non-food, and you can see the difference, and you don't see big growth from 2015 to 2018. Even private label, I don't see it's a marked difference, and I don't see significant changes or variation in the habits. And it's in a way, very interesting to see how ethnic consumers like foods. It's not very generic, and when you see generic, Well, I mean, it's not clear. It's not pretty much accurate. But when you divide into ethnics, Asians, black consumers, total US, you see this slide, how the black consumers and general public or general consumers look at a brand, look at private label. So it is different. So we can't generalize some of these statements. So when you go in too deep, it's different. When you talk about Southern German consumer and Northern German consumer, you can't cater same tea or same products. I mean, it's different. So you should understand it's a consumer perception. Consumer is the person who decide what they need. So you have to basically understand if you want to reach Millennium Goal in food or goals or sustainable development goals. But I think it's a high time. People don't like to stay in one place. People like to change. Millennium Goals have been changed, will be changed, guaranteed. And what is our role? What is the core? Where do we see there is no change? So when we see very deeply, and this was very clearly discussed in last Sustainable Food Summit as well, and people all need, in general, though a few things are final perceptions change, most importantly, they like the key forwards, sustainability. So why people like sustainability? So they know if you don't support sustainability, the world will not move into a stable situation. Then traceability. People have a lot of problems of traceability, and some people don't like to consume products from different countries, and they know it is blended, they know it is mixed, and people don't know where the ingredient comes, and so it's very tough decision, tough factor or key factor in the future next 10 years. So people don't think it is so valuable. Traceability become an extremely valuable point. Traceability and transparency, we don't open it. We do so many things and we will not be able to keep it close anymore. Why? The new techniques to communicate and see things are developed in such a manner that we can't hide anything. You are not anymore hidden. You are exposed. We all are exposed. So transparency become a keyword. Then food security. Why we need food security? How can we make sure food is secure? So it's actually another 1 hour topic, but I make it very simple. We might get into two problems. One is if the food is a lot of microbes above the limit, you get immediate problems, sickness, immediate problem with the pathogens like Salmonella and Clostridium and E. coli and Bacillus, some forms of Bacillus, give you the problem within 48 hours. But this is fortunate, I would say. But most unfortunate thing is the food that contaminated will not give any sign to human body. And that is most dangerous. And we are killed every second when we consume food with residues, chemical residues. So chemical residues, why can't we find it? It's so difficult to find. It's very small amount. Either it has to accumulate in the human cells, body cells, either take out from urine or any other form by destroying some important cells in kidney. So these are the two major things: food security, and thirdly, most weak human category, like mothers with the pregnancy period, especially first 3 months, as well as newly born infants. They are very susceptible for chemical compounds. That's one of the reasons HIP wanted to have arsenic into the 3rd decimal point, ppb level. And food security has been a very, very key word. So I think my connection to organic will also connect to food security. And there are other consumer concerns, pretty much, like ethical trading. We like to see when the product is produced, it has to be done with some respect for the farmers, people work in the factories, and people in the complete value chain. So that is ethical trading, without doing exploitation and discrimination mainly. So very important point has been neglected in the world: storytelling mechanism, indirect branding. This is indirect branding. What is storytelling mechanism? We ignore it. So if you really see the traceability word again, it is again connected to traceability. If you get from product that is connected to the producer, and consumer like to know who is behind this. It's right. Earlier it is very developed. It was very developed concept. It has gone to different direction once the supermarket and e-commerce started. But still, people have come back and say, "Look, guys, we like to know who is behind this." So that is storytelling mechanism. Coming back to any sector that support all what I have discussed right now, I found it is organic. Look how organic has been developed to the world in sustainability. Organic, we have 1, 0, 2, 0, and 3, 0, and protecting environment, biodiversity for one, and then organic products develop gain significant foothold many parts of the world. And third, very importantly, it has to be ecologically sound, that is very environment friendly, economically viable. Otherwise, it's like hobby farming. So you can have hobby farming. But it is not organic. Basically, you can have a nice hobby farming without using any chemicals. So can you label this as organic? No, it's a part of ecological agriculture. Organic has to be economically viable, socially just. So as I mentioned earlier, discrimination and exploitation must be avoided. And we talk about always minimum price to protect the farmer's sustainability. So that has to be a very key word. And cultural diverse, sometimes we call culturally sensitive. So we have to respect all the cultures. Look at country like Sri Lanka. We have so many communities. We have Tamils, Muslims, Sinhalese, Buddhists, Catholics, and so many things. We have different belief, different practices. So if you think, okay, I'm Buddhist and I don't like, why should I respect a cow? It's not my belief. No, I mean, in organic agriculture, you should respect other cultures, other people, other animals. So without respect, there is no culture. So agriculture connected to culture, so we have to be part of it. So it's a similar thing. I would rather say organic originally founders, visionaries, to private standards, public regulation, global recognition. Number 3, widespread conversion towards the true sustainability inclusive. So this is one of the Millennium goals without having any change from the very beginning. So it has to be there. So I think Millennium goals, sustainability will be keyword. I added 3 more: traceability, transparency, food security. So these are 4 pillars of the new building we are going to build in future for next generation. So we can't talk organic without talking about IFOM. IFOM is International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements, who give the blueprints, and Codex Alimentarius give the supportive direction to make standards. So organic agriculture is a production system that sustains health of not only human being, soil very importantly. So we believe without healthy soil, you can't make healthy being. So that is important. Then ecosystem. So we believe in ecosystem like Singaraja, Candian Forest Garden. And if you should not do anything with them. Even you don't need any fertilizer, you don't need any microbes. And ecosystem look after every stakeholder inside the ecosystem, every link. So the balance is people. We are human beings. We have to be a contributor rather destructors. So I think a balanced soil ecosystem look after themselves. We have to ask ourselves whether we look after our own people. So it relies on ecological process. We don't use term organic. Organic has different terminology. Then biodiversity and cycle of adapted local condition. So if something we do in Sri Lanka, it has to be pretty much local. Rather we copy from other country and try to implement it. It will not help our local condition. We try to change what have been formed million years. It's even some people try to get microbes to our country, and microbes in Sri Lanka have been formed thousand and thousand years. So it's not really supporting local conditions, and it's fighting local conditions, and rather than use inputs with adverse effects. Organic agriculture combines traditions. We respect traditions. We take all our knowledge from indigenous knowledge from our traditional farmers, forefathers, innovation. So though we respect it, we don't need to stay there. We have to add innovation. Otherwise, we never can reach Millennium goals. So organic is not the organic is not typically following the old traditions, and we do like small acreage, and we are happy. Said, hey guys, I have a nice plot of ecological farm. I'm happy. That's support the world, and the world it protect the world. No, it will not protect the world anyway. So we have food scarcity, food security, and innovation has to be there, and science must be supported. So tools will be all scientific knowledge to benefit shared environment, promote fair relationship and good quality of life for all involved. Why organic? Very briefly, I think you know GMO, genetically modified organization, and so if you don't like it, sometimes in US, it's not in regulation yet that EM products or ingredient must be labeled. So it's not in regulation. So if I'm in US, how should I avoid GMO ingredient? I can only reach organic, and I'm so happy to have GMO-free food. So this is one of the reason organic consumer market growth is extremely high in US. So this is one of the indirect reason of non-GMO or GMO non-labeling. So immune enhancing. So people know very little about organic immune enhancing. And I take a few minutes quickly tell you about a very beautiful story. And one professor called Jerry Potter in US, who is pharmaceutical professor. He wanted to find a drug for cancer, and he found something very weird in cancer cell enzyme called CYP1B1. So what CYP1B1 in cancer cell doing? Nothing. It's sleeping enzyme. But if you wake up, what the enzyme does? It immediately make another compound called picatinol. Picatinol, when is wake up, it immediately creates picatinol. Picatinol is only destroying cancer cell. He hardly touch any other cell. So what a beautiful gift given by the nature. So how can we take it, the gift? And we all have cancer. Don't worry about it. We have in different forms. But luckily we eat so much nice food in spices and so many things. So we are very well protected. But you don't know who is protecting us. It's not drug. Actually, it is the healthy food that we eat. We are in like big, beautiful, healthy food ring. So picatinol can be accelerated by a compound called resveratrol. Resveratrol is found in originally found in red grapes, and then the professor wanted to see where he can find it anymore, and he found a compound called silvestrol in every organic food. Every organic food. He couldn't understand how come that happened, and then he got an excellent justification to this one. And he said when plant is pumped with all the chemicals, plant does not want to form immunity compounds. And then when human eat the plants with full of chemical spread, the immunity compounds are not there. So how organic food really get the immunity? So the immunity enhancing has become a very keyword after COVID, because it's people found that immunity is one of the keyword to really live healthy during this pandemic. And we scientists wanted to find what are the immunity boosters. So we have all around us without knowing, because science has not gone into details how beautiful organic food is. And then we like to eat with pesticide free from harmful fertilizer residues, and conserves the environment. It's a mind satisfying thing. You become a part of conserve of environment. So you are happy when you eat with happy mood. I think in the body enzymes react differently. Without your knowledge, it do a beautiful job rather taking all the drugs. Sustainability, keyword. I use this word so many times in this presentation. Why organic? You can see organic and GMO fed tomatoes, and you can see the difference. You might feel the difference. And going organic is not only a practical way to avoid eating genetically modified food. And I like to share one slide of milk. Like Sweden, who wants to have 80% of milk organic. Why? This Swedish drink a lot of milk. So it's a government standard or regulation that Swedish are fed with healthy milk. So like if government take a good decision, Sri Lankan should eat organic rice. I don't know whether we have enough production, but it's a way forward. So you see organic cow and non-organic cow who is fed with GMO 60% and soy 60%, and with full of glyphosate and atrazine. So you can see the other part very green, fresh pasture. So we walk and eat, and with happy living, I would say. So organic produce contain comparatively more vitamins, minerals, enzymes. Keyword is enzyme for me. And we will come to know about the act of enzymes in next 10 years. And it will have a great influence than what we see the other compounds like protein or amino acids and fatty acids, carbohydrates, sugar or carbohydrates, and proteins. It will have more impact or more influence in the human health in future. And so this will be a greater thing for organic lovers. Enzymes will have a key role in human health, not the things you take to your body. It has a small relevance. Micronutrient than intensively farm produce. Yeah, they preserve your long-term health and well-being, and that you and your children, and you love your children, and basically you like to give organic food to your children if you can't afford too much of organic food, but you like to consume other ones. So why you do it? It's for the future, and you are part of the future protection. And this is a beautiful site, and I love this slide because you really want to be there. I mean, all inputs leave non-toxic share in the soil and waterways. So if you can one day create a world like this, everyone want to stay there, believe me. And then the biodiversity. So biodiversity is other keyword, and we like to live with animals in the nature way, and COVID has shown us some lessons. I think we all have seen how after COVID incident, when the lockdowns are done, animals used to come to their own homeland that have been really taken by humans, legally or illegally. And they like to show their faces in the waterways in California, and they are come to the move to swim to the beach, and they want to see humans living away from them. So it's fantastic signs of nature controlling incidents from one side. And it's human always, sustainable farming practices which encourage nature-friendly means, food consumption which is safer for consumers and farmers. Look at, we want to talk about the safer for consumers, not only consumers, what about farmers? If somebody wants nice food, I have seen so many regulation in Europe who want to really have extremely low residual limits. But they are the same people sometimes pump all the chemicals back to the developing countries. So it's not fair. I mean, we talk about Millennium Goals. So they want the safer food, but not the safer farmers. So we have to talk about it as a different topic. How fair when you have the strong regulation in one country, developed country, and make all the chemicals and pass it to the other people who should do the farming using those chemicals. You can see these slides. These are the chemicals used, and afterward you see all these problems of farmers. And so this conventional farming in hazardous for health for farmers. And why pesticide matter? I mean, if accumulated in human body, we get headaches, birth defects. If you really see the information from tea sector in Sri Lanka, I have seen some papers, and it's not very encouraging. And fertility of humans going down, and so who knows? So this is not a good sign. Birth defects is one of them, and a strain in weakened immune system, a link to cancer. Cancer has become common. So earlier when we hear about cancer, we are very shocked. Oh my gosh, what an unfortunate human being. Now it's very common, and it's okay. I mean, we all get it. So why can't we avoid it? Children are most vulnerable, as I mentioned earlier, and less developed immune system because their bodies, brains are still developing. So you have to protect actually children. That's for future. That's your contribution. Pregnant women are most vulnerable due to the added stress on top. So stress is one of the key word. Stress would come from different source, and when you have a chemical on top of it, it can really damage whole system. Children are most vulnerable. You can see this slide. I think it's not after the war in Iraq or Iran, but it's purely people from chemical war. So this is some outcome, and I don't share some of the slides with you guys. It's so unpleasant, but it's a reality. Chronic disease, I have seen a nice paper from Sri Lankan scientist, part of it. He was Deva, I think major health problems in Sri Lanka somewhere in 1998. Actually, we found arsenic somewhere in 1996 in Sri Lankan paddy. And one of our organic field got flooded, and we found immediately arsenic, and we wanted to search where the arsenic factory is there, but we couldn't find arsenic factory in the whole area, and we never knew that it's come from the fertilizer. So it's too late to see all those impact, but afterwards people found all the chemicals and creating all the problems. In an era where Sri Lanka facing boundless health problem, moving forward, an organic concept might be one of the solutions for healthy and sustainable future. Reason for organic food consumption in Germany, coming out of our country. And you can see this beautiful survey done by German organic food reason in percentage. You can see the reference. And 90% marks given out of the survey people from animal welfare. One, less additives, again 90%. We don't like additives anymore. And if you walk into North American places, you see a restaurant called Naked Food Restaurant, or they call naked food as well as raw food, yeah. And because of less cooking and less additives. So it's becoming so popular. The queues are long and you can't wait hours. Sometimes you have to wait 30, 40 minutes to find a very broken chair. It's so difficult sometimes, believe me. Support our local companies, that's a keyword. Be local, buy local. It's a very common saying everywhere now. Lowest possible pollution, health, well-being, support organic farming, got 82%, environmental protection, 81%, GMO-free food actually. Advice from qualified personnel is 35. No one cares this anymore. Food is scandal, even it has 52 points. But the other one, what I just read, having extremely high marks. And Nielsen survey, global, 75% responded worried about the impact of artificial ingredient in the health. So this is one of the keyword, artificial ingredients. And this is a consumer preference. So we try to match at the end of the meeting. I like to take you to a direction of Millennium Development Goals. So I started that, and I'm now talking something like consumer preference. So without matching that, we never can reach goals. It's like that you need black tea and somebody's producing green tea, and are you happy? No, you are not happy. You need black tea. Come on guys, I need black tea and somebody's make green tea, I don't need it. So like that, we have to really have a better understanding what the whole world needs and how do you reach the Millennium Development Goals based on the requirements. 70% responded avoid certain ingredients, help prevent against certain health conditions. So how to achieve this? Clear traceability. I come back to the 4 pillars, traceability again. And why traceability? People really want to know exactly dedicated value chains, dedicated supply partners. So when a supply partner has so many independents, so many supply chains, it will have a big problem in future. Within next 3 years, I am not sure this will have a big problem of independent groups. This is a very debatable thing I'm telling you. But people, consumer, it's decided by not me, but the consumers who really like to see dedicated partnership, traceability, keyword. 62% responded avoid mostly artificial flavors. And that's why they need to know exactly whether the product is blended. Many people have beautiful products and they put a little bit of flavors extracted from that and this. So it gives a lot of ambiguity and people don't like it anymore. Why they don't like it earlier? Why earlier people didn't complain? They didn't have means to find it. Now we are in a developed world. We have so much means to find it. So that's why we have big protest against this unknown or not transparent means of having products. 61% responded avoid preservatives, artificial colorings. Yeah, I mean, if you go back to see the meat production in North America, they have used artificial antioxidant. Now they use antioxidant from green tea, epigallocatharine gallate, and green tea extracts, mainly epigallocatharine gallate used as antioxidant, and they have to use by law the natural antioxidant. So most of the bacon or the other made food are now will be not are now will be treated with only natural additives. So there's a very good direction, and this supports so much of environmental protection. 52% responded avoid artificial sweetness. Sweetness is one of the keywords, and people think sweetness is bad. In a way, yes, because how it defines is the keyword, big problem. I would say major concern. But sweet products are not always bad. But artificially made one is really bad. And everyone knows, even school children knows why it is bad. Number one reason consumers started making those choices was perceive impact those ingredients have on health rather than them having an actual medical condition. So you can see, rather than them having an actual medical condition. I repeat it. Organic is on the rise globally. If what I have told is correct, there must be a proof. So what is the proof? What is the practical outcome of this? Organic is globally rise, is going improving market. And you can see some small survey done many years ago. You can see how many billions are going up, and growth is approximately 11%. Is a one big sector during last 2 decades, grown beautifully with 2 digits. And you can see European growth, European organic food and drink market, how the difference between the other one and how it is grown throughout up to 2016. So you can have big hopes in organic. So if you want to invest any money, if any listener want to invest money, you have all the information already now, but I will add a few more later. Why? COVID. COVID was a lot of doors for us. COVID pandemic opened doors of so many policymakers. They have to look at the nature and see, hey guys, what I have been doing last so many generations, we have been destroying it. Now they don't know how the ozone layer get healed. And they can see mountains at a distance. The Alps has Alps was not seen by people in 1993-4. Now it is easily seen at a distance. So how I think people in China can see the sky easily in some regions. So other than the food, I am just going to tell you, organic can impact the consumer demand, and organic produces higher than normal coronavirus outbreak, and it jumped 20% growth alone in March. And I think most of the stores are sold out pretty much earlier. And after topping $50 billion in 2019, organic food sales benefit from coronavirus. Organic vegetables, coffee, tea is sold out, and market sales empty. And why people are so worried about organic food after pandemic? Because people couldn't find a cure for that. People couldn't find a vaccine. And the virus is too smart than human being, and it changes strains, and due to the mutation different. And so that if somebody want to find vaccine, they have to find so many vaccine for different strains. So at the end of the day, it will be a cocktail of vaccines, maybe 8 cocktail. If you want to travel to Europe, you must have a cocktail, or otherwise you have to have 6 or 7 vaccines. So this is pretty dangerous. So I don't want to get all the vaccine. So, and I'm not sure about it. And people are still struggling to find a cure for that. So what's the other alternative in that situation? And consumers turning to organic foods as ammunition against COVID-19. It's simply because of the immunity. They know that immunity is helping to not to completely cure, but to fight against. And so that immunity is a keyword, and people want to see how immunity is controlled or enhanced by consuming organic food. So this is one of the keyword we heard after COVID. And so you can see in basically India, it has shown some figures of the growth of 25 to 100%, pretty much higher. And we don't know whether it remains. It can come down, but guaranteed it will not go below 2 digit. And so many markets have been collapsed during that period, while organic market has grown tremendously, significantly. Importance of organic continue to rise sales. I share very quick information of the growth. Millennials and younger generation have grown up with organic and remain growth drivers, organic fruit, vegetable, including fresh, frozen, canned, dried food category. Why millennials? Why younger generation is so important? This is a very interesting, very I would say encouraging information. Typically, people think all health food are demanded by people, pensioners who really like to enjoy the last part of their life. No, it's millennial who knows the information now. That's why we always say transparency is so important. And they are the generation who really want to know whether it is blended, whether it's contaminated, whether it's with additives. So these are the keyword for them. So younger generation is the changing factor of new millennium goals. So you have to be careful. They will change the world. So you have to adapt to their needs in future. Organic dairy working its way out. Oversupply is gone out. Meat, poultry having a 10% growth. There is no oversupply anymore. Spicing up home cooking with organic condiments. People all love to see spices. They have not tasted spices. After COVID, they all want to try spices. Chili, ginger, turmeric sold out always. And it's not only in Asia, but other countries as well. Organic spice recorded 345 million in sales with 15 growth. Outside organic food, even non-food items, 5 billion mark in 2019. And people like to wear more of chemical-free clothes. And that has become popular. Okay. So this is all about the global, and we are in a very small island. What is our role in Sri Lanka, being Sri Lankans? And country is facing problems because of not only COVID, due to so many other things. And we are agriculture-based country. We develop agriculture rather than industry based. And we try to get short-term and medium-term strategy. And CARP, Council of Agriculture Research Policy. We wanted to have a solution, and I got these slides pretty interesting, and you can see how many million we spend of importing all the chemicals for agriculture in Sri Lanka, where we have all the resources here, and it's very sad to see how many millions we spend. Then you can see the importation of seeds and other chemicals, herbicide, weedicide, pesticides. And you can see that this slide, having the total chemical, seeds and fertilizer, and the total so many billions, $350 million we have spent. And we are very proud to say that we have local vegetables here. Look at our beet, carrots, and all other beautiful vegetables. And how much money you spend for these locally grown vegetables. What you have grown locally, you put your sweat and you spoil your soil, and you are very proud to say, oh, I grow this. I mean, how stupid we are when you really see these figures. What you have done, you have invested all your money importing all this garbage and eaten all the unhealthy food. So I think time has come that you open your eyes. And also the government policy, and you can see the trade balance in billion USD billions. This is Sri Lanka, not different country, and so the gap has to be filled because I think government has taken a decision to limit importations. Great news, and then from other side we have to increase the exports. So what a great thing for the local Sri Lankan in agriculture side. So they have to grow more, reducing imports. So that's really taking Sri Lanka towards reaching Millennium Goals. So you can ask why I select this topic today to share with you. Organic Research Trust having a kind of a priority, product to implement organic agriculture system. We can't anymore keep it hidden under carpet. You have to take it up and say, okay guys, we have to address about what are the issues. Develop scientific basis of indigenous agriculture practices. We have so many, we can share it with so many people. And I think my time is almost reaching, so I go a little faster. And so you can read it, Certification Standard National Policy on Organic Agriculture, focus on product international market. And so we can't talk without really fertile soil, and how we miss all these beautiful things. And we blame organic because we always think organic is low yielding, low income generation, simply because we use wrong terminology for organic. And we use compost and we claim it organic. No more. I think you can't do it anymore. And organic has very clear definition. You know it. It's not only ecological friendly, environment friendly. It has cultural sensitivity. Socially, it has to be socially just, and it has to be economically viable. So if it is not economically viable, forget it. Don't do organic. Do something else. So, and when we go back, and it has to have an efficient management system. So traceability is one of the key word there. So coming back to the fertilizer and organic sources, and compost will not complete. And it's like you give mother's milk when the child become year 12, year 13, year 14, and ask him to stay. And you, when you start, you did it, and now also you have to satisfy with the mother's milk, and you have to grow. No, it will not happen. So you have to give the correct inputs by having understanding what is the soil and what is needed by the plants. Solid inputs, so have to have very good solid inputs, and have a diverse product range. This some of the products we produce: perennial, tea, coconut, rubber, fruits, different crops. Why it has to be different? You know, perennial harvest is once a year, and tea is almost 8 to 10 days harvest. Coconut is 45-day harvest. Rubber, you have a different frequency. Fruits, maybe once a year or twice a year. Short-term crops, vegetables, 3 months, 2 months, flowers like. So it has to be different. So if you give something like coconut oil one product, it will not support, and then you blame organic is shitty and it's not giving the results. So don't blame organic. So you have to do your job and understand the requirement. So liquid inputs has to be easy handling, application, easy blending. Otherwise, if you ask the tea farmers, tea estates to apply the compost in very old way, I think you get a strike very next day, and no one want to continue the organic farming. And it was a prohibited word a few years ago in tea sector, because it's a wrong practice, wrong applications. So you have to change yourself and see, look guys, this is very convenient. So the perennial crops address annual crops like cinnamon and other ones, and ginger, pepper, and turmeric. And then crops like tea must have more nitrogen fertile fertilizer for quick crop for 7 to 8 days or 9 days. And then you must have excellent harvest from coconut every 45 days, having a different fertilizer. So paddy, we are rice eating country again, and we must eat a good paddy 4 months, 3 months, or 6 months, depending on the paddy variety. And so you can have a correct applications for excellent harvest. And we have, our farmers have proven without any doubt that yield of organic rice is pretty much higher than the conventional fed rice. So you can ask the next question, why the prices are higher. So yeah, we must find an answer for that later. Yeah, so the vegetables and many things later on should be done with this one, and experiment plots with this organic inputs must be proven and supported by the government as well. I think the policies taken by the new leadership is extremely encouraging, and it is driven towards the supporting our environmental protection and our goals. So it's not only eating, but why not we enjoy beautiful flowers around you? And I have seen many years and some conferences in Europe, they make sure that flowers in the podium must be organic, because many people in the podium cannot stand conventional flowers. They get a lot of allergy. So one day we talk about organic flowers. We Sri Lankan are still lucky to tolerate anything. but not for people in North America with so many gluten allergies, so many allergies, and we can add few more later on next couple of years. And we hardly know about it, but we know gluten allergy, pollen allergy, and so many allergies. Nut allergy, peanuts is little common now, and it is a part of regulation that every food recipe must be shown what are the products. Organic fertilizer compost I explained, and it has to be very controlled microbes. Microbes is a keyword. That is our living soil. Without living soil, there is no living being, and we don't support any healthy soil without living being. So you have to give back the microbes stolen from the soil. For our local microbes, especially, it has to be given back, and then you can see the beautiful results. And I don't spend too much of time, and if somebody interested, you can just get the copy and see what are the microbes that really give acidobacter for free living soil bacteria, fix atmospheric nitrogen. So nitrogen is available 72% or more in the air, so it fix. So why do you worry about putting all the nitrogen from artificial? So azospirillum and fix atmospheric nitrogen again. Phosphate soluble in bacteria, very interesting, and only giving the enough phosphate from rock phosphate without diluting in the water. Mycorrhiza plant increase the area of absorption. So these are the keyword. Trichodoma, guard against pathogenic soil fungi. Azolla, again in fixed atmospheric nitrogen. Trichodoma, other variety species, soil-borne pathogenic fungi, nematodes, excretion antibiotic, growth hormones, so beautiful. Bacillus, enhance hormone excretion, soil chemical and physical properties enhancement. So we need R&D. We can't say, okay, we should ask farmers what is the best. No, we should put our investment towards R&D, providing organic fertilizer and find more favorable microbes. So these are the keywords. Demonstration is very important, and assurance is given by different certification body, limit future like this. Demeter is one of the key mark for organic, and USD, JAS. Biosphere is organic, natural land, very famous in Germany. And then we have some in Sri Lanka, MyAsset, EcoCert, Control Union, LACON, NASA certified SLS organic, local institute, Soil Association UK. So we have many organic inspection body very actively in Sri Lanka. And thanks to many contributors who might be listeners of this conference, supported to form something called NOCU, National Organic Controlling Unit in EDB, supported by so many ministries, and SLS do the basic guideline document and make the standards that will be converted to organic regulation. And whoever try to confirm the regulation must go through the SLEDB, Sri Lanka Accreditation Board, who confirm they are qualified to do the certification and inspection. So this is the formation. And so it is again supported by IFOM and Codex Alimentarias. And we also have a regulation in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lankan can't simply say, hey, my product is organic without having proper certification. So this will be followed by, excuse me, Gazette notification. And so we have regulation. If somebody say this is organic without having the control body number, it is illegal. So people can take them to courts. So we have regulation. Thanks to this regulation, we will have control in Sri Lankan organic products. On top, we have a Sri Lankan beautiful logo. So I think you have to ask Noku in EDB how to use the logo, and they will explain. And we have also challenges. Very quickly, go through the challenges. The MRL, maximum residue limits, are going to be serious, and this done by all regulatory bodies in developed country. So they decrease the limit of MRLs, and so it will be a big challenge. And there are other problems like cross-contamination. of heavy metals from maybe urban waste, we don't know, maybe inherent problems like Italy. So you have to be very careful. These residues are accumulating and giving a lot of problems in food sector. And global challenges and harmonizing changes in organic regulation globally. So your EU regulation is being changed, and so we have to face new challenges in a year to come. Role of third-party certification, that is inspection bodies. Heavy dependence of accredited labs. This is a headache. Actually, we must join hand to change this dependence of labs. So lab control organic in the world, rather other bodies. Support from governments is questionable. I think we have better direction, better leadership now. So this is very encouraging. Active participation of all stakeholders in organic value chains. So well-wishers, all other key people from farmer to the buyer must be joined hands to make the world Millennium Goal a success. Knowledge and awareness of organic consumer trends, change in needs. So you have to be, if you like to invest in organic, be careful of the changing trends. Like Millennium, new generation decide what they need, and the other bodies try to fix the Millennium goals. So you have to see whether there's a gap. So changing needs are to be addressed, understand. Otherwise, you are completely out of the equation. Sharing information in different and transparent manner is so important. So luckily, we have all the technology to share this information. And our environment, organic practices is a final word, our land and biodiversity. And society, we take pride in feeding people truly healthy product. After all, we are what we eat. So it is important not to ignore our locals, Sri Lankans. If you want to be exporter, make sure that you do something for our country and make Sri Lankan available. Sri Lankan consumers have access to non-chemical or non-toxic food. So this is a very key word. Make sure that you take this part of your concept, and without that, your concept is not complete. Make sure you give locals correct credibility, recognition, respect, and food as well. So again, I end my session taking off Millennium Goals, need value chains, sustainability, we need it, traceability. So we talk about dedicated value chain. Remember the word dedicated value chain. Transparency, yes. Food security, I explained it. Other consumer concerns, I discussed it earlier. And ethical trading like fair trade and storytelling mechanism. You are lucky if you have dedicated value chain. You have a nice story to tell. Who is producing, who is behind all these beautiful products from Sri Lanka, India, or whatever country. That can be indirect branding. So you have to make sure that you have a very dedicated value chain. So I end in my discussion of Millennium Goals, coming back to summarizing and come back to the same key 4 pillars: sustainability, traceability, transparency, and food security. So we can't make it happen, and it's always together. We can make a meaningful difference in many life. Why do you want to have a meaningful difference? We want to make sure we preserve clean air, biodiverse land, clean water, rich soil that grow everything for the survival of future generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ranaweera. I think it is with so many informations, so many interesting information, and it's very interesting to see that we are talking about the challenges to the economy. So you're talking about the increased demand for organic food after COVID-19. Actually, the whole of global population is wakening up to this kind of agriculture and things like that. I think it is very nice to hear that. And also it is revealing that when you are talking about the chemical residues in your body, you will be dying slowly. You have so many diseases which you never think that it is coming out of what you eat. So it's really revealing. And also you're talking about the when as a layman that we think always when it says the organic, yes, it is compost and things like that. So you are very clever. You are very interesting to say that that it is not organic, and it is really something to do with the it is something to do with the organic fertilizer. So it's all in all, Dr. Ranaweera, it is really revealing webinar presentation. Yeah, you have created so much of interest. I think it's a little bit a challenge to deal with the questions. There are a lot of questions are coming up, but I'll try to put into a nutshell and try and get another 15 minutes to get some answers out of you. There are a lot of interest. So my first question, I would like to ask you this, because this is also from a participant. He's talking about food security versus food safety. And I would like to frame the question in this way. Now, as you have mentioned in your presentation, and also we are also talking about the exports and the Export Development Board and the global markets. So still, would you like to categorize this as a upmarket thing, or it is not upmarket thing? Or when it comes to the price, that if you compare the prices, say the organic food, yes, it's expensive. So why should I go to organic food? Yes, it is good, but still that can't I compromise with the other food, that kind of thing. So with all these things, that would you categorize this as an upmarket thing, and the marketing channels are different to the normal marketing channels? And how do you look at it? I also want to relate it to this question on the food security versus food safety.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when the Millennium Goals are reached, automatically many countries have changed their conventional food regulation. You know, if you see the new conventional food regulation, it has come closer to organic. Whether you like organic or not, look at how many containers returned to Sri Lanka with so many tea containers with so many chemicals. Why? Suddenly, because they have reduced their limits of conventional products, not organic products. So we have to anyway face the challenge of new conventional regulation. When you use chemical, you have to be very careful of it. And secondly, the price difference is, of course, we should think about the gaps between the conventional and organic price. And for export market, I think it's a beneficial term for us. But local market, I think we should not do it. We should always, if I say it has a better yield, why not it is the same price or lower price? So one time we sold something in Candy City Center lower price, and people didn't want to buy. I heard one boy saying, look, I saw this in this price in the supermarket and this price is lower. How do you think this is organic? You know, this doubt also come to human mind, and they think organic has to be expensive, unfortunately. But I think the challenge we have to have is we should not have an extremely high price. Maximum within 30% is very fair for the contribution done by the farmers. And it's not only inputs, but they are sustainability. So we have to contribute something for sustainability. Quickly answering your food security and food safety or whatever. Safety, I think I categorize it to two main. One is the residues, other one is microbes. Second one, the food volumes available for human consumption. If you really see, the 70% is food approximately wasted. When you make food and you go to the supply chain and you see how many percentage is taken out before it is sent to the supermarket. From the supermarket, how many is sold out at cheap or destroyed, and when it is taken the restaurant, how many percentage is thrown out, and how many food after cooking thrown out. So when you calculate, you only consume about 30 to 40%, believe me. And you claim and say you said food is not enough for cater people. It's really garbage, because if you really manage the food in a different way, we have more than enough food for catering the people in poor countries. It's a poor management in food. We talk about the post-harvest management, and we said the post-harvest damage is 30%. We try to reduce it, but after processing, the damage is about more than 50% before reaching to your mouth. That's the reality. So if you say food is, if you try to change it to organic, the volume to feed people is not enough. Yeah, I mean, you can't convert whole world to organic overnight. I mean, you have to have beautiful plan to take it to that steps. Anyway, whether you like it or not, all the regulations are there, conventional, to reduce chemicals. So what else you can do? Now, if government stop importation of fertilizer within 3 years, what are you going to do? You walk out from farming? No, you find alternatives.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Dr. Ranaweera. It's revealing. But my next question I would like to frame with the story that you were talking about in the Kandy City Center. Now, the person who was looked at and said that, look, this is cheaper, and how can this be organic? Yeah, true. So actually speaking, I'll take it to somewhere, the supermarket in some other countries, in Germany, or say for that matter, even in one of the Asian countries or the East Asia or Africa, wherever. So are you satisfied that the regulations that you are talking, or not the regulations, but the standards that you are talking about, with so many private labels and things like that, convince the people on this, and whether they will convince, they look at a label, and I have seen in your pictures that in the supermarket that you say there's a big board, this is organic food, organic products, but will the people believe those as really as organic, or will they think about it, this is just a marketing tactic or something like that? How can you overcome when it comes to the exporting or to these markets and things like that, to grab this market really genuinely?
Yeah, the import control bodies are very strong. I mean, importation to these countries and the controlling body like FDA in US and the other controlling bodies, food regulations are very strong in Europe. And they like baby food. And if they find a simple sample with third decimal the milligram of arsenic in organic rice in baby food, that's it. So recall is massive, millions. So why should I take any chance of recall, spending so many million? So things are, the rules and regulation in disciplined countries or developed countries are different. And so that's one of the control and that's a kind of assurance given in the labeling. Labeling has to be done in controlling bodies. That's why one of the reasons we also, Sri Lanka, lucky, thanks to EDB in one way, that having a correct procedure for controlling things. So if we do have a double standard for locals, one standard, export one standard, people get confused. And if we want to export organic, we need to have credibility. Otherwise, we come to some of the, I don't like to quote neighboring countries, that standard. So we like to protect, and we like to protect exporters, because organic has come coupled with exports. Otherwise, we still love to have ecological products. Singaraja never become organic. Canadian Forest Garden never become organic system. It's ecological system. Ecological system is some 1,000 times better than organic systems. Organic is just a small part of ecological system. So organic came in 1992 or 1993 purely for labeling for exports.
Yeah. So actually, my question was also based on this. Some of the questions I would like to particularly highlight. The Martin Boone has said do you have any ideas how to get the mass of the consumers to buy organic as well? I think you have given a fair reply for that. So I'll go to the next question. It's like the supply situation. So also I would like to take this question from Rasika Veerasuriya, who was talking about this conventionalization of organic farming can be seen as a result of ever-increasing global demand for organic products. As a small island nation, how we can promote smallholder organic farming while respecting basic organic principles?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, if you really seek in India, a whole state has been announced as organic. And then there are so many villages in different countries, different regions. A good example, Shan state had been, not now, announced by the governor of the Shan in Myanmar as organic state. Even I think Timor, all coffee has been announced organic. No chemicals can be allowed. So like that in small farm, I heard recently, last week or this week, that government is going to have a gazette notification to allocate land under Moragakand's scheme under organic. So these are beautiful things. And then these are the ideal model for a country like Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka having all greenery throughout the year. And if somebody say that we can't convert lands to ecological system, rather organic, we have something missing and we have become a lazy people. And all the other countries who have hardly any hardly any, greenery throughout the year, and they have winter, they have all the bad climatic condition, and they do organic. And we have so much around us, all the resources. And if we say, if we can't convert lands to organic, we have problem. But coming to a small farm, a good question from Rasika, having a problem because the internal control system and in between, if they have a large farm who use chemicals, you get cross-contamination. When you get cross-contamination, we have problem of residue detection, and then it is rejected because of the new regulations. So these are some challenges that we have take up in future.
Okay, Dr. Ranaweera, I think your answers are brilliant, and the kind of you gave it in a nutshell, so it's good. And I just want to have few very quick questions. I know that we are running out of time very much, but still, somebody are asking about the sulfites and the nitrites, whether those are, what is your opinion on those? I don't know whether you can give a very short answer. How safe are sulfites and nitrites? So that was the question.
Depends on what level you use in the processing. So, I mean, you can really get this information from a controlling body organic, and some are allowed, some are not allowed, depend on what form of sulfite and what form of nitrate or nitrite. So these are pretty much a scientific thing, and so it's a very generic thing. So it has to be very specific in what product you want to use. Then we have a very specific answer. And otherwise, it's very difficult to give a very generic common answer for this. And some are allowed in organic systems, and in what level. Like sometimes even neem being a very known thing for organic cannot be used in gas condition. So some places neem can be used. So like that, you have to be very specific in some questions in organic. So sorry, I can't give a very perfect answer on that.
Understandable. I think you have a fair answer. So, Dr. Ranaweera, I am just before my conclusion, I would like to ask this question from there are several queries that whether asking your contact details, so that whether we can share your contact details on our website. Is that okay with you? So that we can put that is on our website with the presentation, so they can take it from there, if you have no objection.
Yeah, I think I have to find another new mobile, but I think you can mobile. So with the workload, it's restricted, but it's interesting, and it's our duty to answer questions and guide people who want to join. And you can use this in website. And please don't get offended if I don't answer very quickly. So thank you very much again. And
okay. Also that they want the presentation to be shared. So I would like to tell the participants that this presentation will be available on our website. All our webinars will be available for you to look at leisurely on our website. So that will be there. And also please visit the srilankabusiness.com. That is the EDB's website, and you get so much of information on this agriculture, as well as the other products and services as well. So, Dr. Ranaweera, I think as I said, it was a very, very revealing webinar, and I am pretty sure from the questions I got, I think I have done fairly I have done a justifiable job in putting you the question in a nutshell, or the wrapping up some questions. But sorry that I couldn't go to each and every question, but I think that we have done this thing. And very end, I would like to ask you one small question. Organic coconut, whose advice I should take? This question, can you answer? For organic coconut, whose advice?
There are so many controlling body, EDB, Coconut Development Board, all are involved in advising. I think so. I mean, even we have our advisory unit. We have our internal extension people. Everyone do the free service. We never charge for advice. It's our duty for our country. So feel free to ask any of us. And I think all other people in EDB or maybe Coconut Development Board and probably Agriculture Department, they might give a good answer for organic coconut. It has even these fertilizers have excellent results. Organic coconut during the drought season, it gives 650 gram coconut plus no yield drop. Believe me.
Okay. With that, I would like to conclude the webinar. Dr. Ranaweera, Dr. Sarath Ranaweera, thank you so much for your time and your effort in putting this webinar together for the participants, especially for the exporters and the export community of this country.
Thank you very much.
For the participants, we are going to meet you next week as well with a useful webinar like this. So be safe and we'll meet next week on the same day, same time. Bye for now.
Bye.